Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Communications from Home right here on Facebook at Star Nations Organization's main fan page. This is my weekly evening show, and I am so glad to be back. It feels like I've been gone for a long, long time. And technically, I suppose I have just before Christmas, right? And so, Happy New Year to everyone. I know that we're starting the first full week in the new year. And so, happy 2020, right, to everyone, and starting of the new decade. And so I'm just happy to be with you guys. I'm just double checking something with the live stream here. Make sure my sound's down. Yay. Okay. And thank you to Rob. Rob, who is my producer this evening for the show. Thank you so much, Rob. We're beginning to really understand good communication when it comes to producing a live stream show. And the last one that we did together, it was so smooth and it was seamless and it's fun. It's fun on this side because I'm used to producing my own show and doing, all these little detailed things. And now I just get to be able to be one-on-one with everybody in the chat room and to be able to really focus. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to those that are in the live chat. Thank you for being with me this evening. I appreciate it. And those that'll be watching the recorded show, thank you so much for making time in your day and your life to be able to spend some time with us. We do appreciate it. And so this show is all about change. How I get the information from my spiritual team for the show topics, right? I was wondering, what should we talk about this very first big show of 2020, right? And so I distinctly heard embracing change, and that I was supposed to use my recent experience with Star Nations magazine as an example of embracing change. And so we're going to be sharing that tonight. And so if you are in the beginning or the midst of change, please let me know. Go ahead and drop it in the comments, because this is about a conversation with us, right? And so if you're in that process of accepting the change, in the change, whatever that is for you, right? Because we're going to be talking a little bit about when those changes appear in our lives, okay? Yeah. And so let's see who's in the house tonight. Rob, could you bring up the people in the chat? Because it looks like there's several people in the chat. Hey, Julie. Hey. Good to have you here, Julie. Julie is one of our live stream show hosts, and she has a brand new show starting January 20th, Monday, January 20th, called Cosmic Conversations with Julie Hedges. And so we retired the Tarot Journey, still got a lot of good things in there, and we still have, because she still has her book, right? The Tarot Journey. But she's starting her brand new show on Monday the 20th. I'm going to be there for her, and I hope you can join us too in the live chat. Thanks for being with us tonight, Julie. I appreciate it. Oh, it's good to have you in the house. And Stephanie is here too. Yay, Stephanie. She says, can you see my picture? Yes. She was actually asking Julie that, but no, we can see your picture. It's always good in the public pages that we have. It's in the group pages that sometimes we have issues with seeing the profiles. And Lynn's here too. Hi, Lynn. It's good to have you here. Happy New Year, Lynn. Lynn is one of our longtime watchers of the shows, and so we appreciate you joining us in every one of our shows. We like seeing you in the chat. And Stephanie, I forgot to mention that Stephanie is one of the executive members of Star Nation's team. She helps me with the social media. Yeah. Yay. That's all I got to say, because she makes my life a little bit easier. And so, Lynn, also, thank you for being with us. Always like to see you in the house. And Violet, hello, Violet. Happy New Year to you too. Violet and I, we just finished up a telephone call last week. Was it last week? Was it on Monday? I forget. Man, the days sometimes there's so much going on that sometimes I feel like I have 2 days in one. And so Violet and I are working on some cool stuff that we're hoping to share with you guys soon. We're co-creating something together. And so thank you for being here, Violet. I appreciate it. Communications from Home is going to have some fun stuff with Violet in the near future. Yep. Okay. And Angie's here too. Hey, Angie, good to have you here. Happy New Year to you, lady. Always good to see you in the house too. And I'm so glad because I made sure I sent you the link via Messenger tonight. I didn't do that. When was that? Sunday? Sunday was a little hectic. So thanks for being here, Angie. And Lisa, my goodness. Hello, Lisa. Good to have you here. Did you know that Lisa and I live in the same state? Mm-hmm. She actually lives in a small town that I used to live in not too long ago, about 13 years ago, I guess it is. I guess it is kind of a long time. That was in the last decade. In this decade, where I'm in Toma, Wisconsin, and Lisa is further south, about an hour and 20 minutes south of me. So always good to see you in the house, Lisa. Well, one of these days, we're going to actually meet in person. We live so, why not? It's only an hour drive. And Amy Daniels, Happy New Year. And I hope you're feeling better, Amy. Amy and I have a long-term friendship. She started out as a student of mine, and it has developed into a near and dear friendship. She also is from Wisconsin. And so it's always good to see you in the house, Amy. Hope you're feeling better. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Angelica, hello. She said, had trouble getting here. Hi there. Good. I'm so glad you're here, Angelica. I wanted to make sure that you got the messenger invite, because I know sometimes when you're first starting out as one of the watchers, the audience members, right? Sometimes it's a little difficult to locate the link. So I'm so glad you're here with us, and Happy New Year, Angelica. And by the way, do you like Angelica or Angie or Ange? Let us know, okay? All right. Hey, you have no video? Really? I see it on my phone. Did you try refreshing? Oh, you do have video. Sorry about that. Misread that. Anne's here too. Yay, Anne. It's always good to have you in the house. I love it. And I love your new profile pictures. Oh my goodness, lady. You look good in red. Good. And Happy New Year to you, Anne. Yeah. April's here too. April, yay. Good to have you here. Happy New Year, April. It's always good to have you in the house. And, April is one of our longtime audience members too, one of our active community members. So it's always good to have you in the house. All right. Yeah, Angie's saying, I'm going through change. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of us, Angie. We're all in it together, really. And we're going to get into that in just a second, as soon as we get through everybody here. And Lynn says, spiritual growth and change. Yes, absolutely. Every single one of us. Hey, Jackie, it's good to have you here. Thanks for the wave. Happy New Year. Julie says, change. I'm cleaning out my house, and today my body has decided to clean out. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that too. How everything is kind of interconnected. Well, it's still a little too late now, Julie. It's okay, though. It's all right. Don't worry about it, because I'm sure there's someone else going through it too. Angelica is saying, oh, yeah, it's just a change. Writing lots, excavating stuff feels good. Not what to do with space. Yeah. When we're embracing change, it can be a bit more graceful, right? It's in the resistance that we have challenges. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. She said, meant to do what to do with space. Yes. Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about a space clearing too. Angelica, thanks. My name is Barbara. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't know that. Okay. So, we'll just call you Barbara. Whenever I see the Angelica name come up, I'll call you Barb or Barbara. How's that? Sounds good, huh? Yeah, Rob's saying, oh yes, change abounds. You know what? Here's one thing that I know for sure. Okay, sounds like Oprah, right? One thing I know for sure is that energy is constantly moving, always moving. And so the consistency is the change, And we're energy, right? We're spirit, we're energy. And so we're meant to change. We are. If we're static, if we resist the change or don't change, we make the decision not to change, lots of times that's when we start ending up with physical illnesses, and also we're not very happy in our lives, right? Because we're meant to evolve, we're meant to change. So change abounds. It certainly does. It sounds like a good title of a book too, doesn't it? All right. I think that we're through them, right? No. Oh, Amy says thank you. Feeling some better. Oh yes, in the midst of lots of change. And see, and I know that when my team asked me to do this topic tonight, when they did the nudge for the topic tonight, the feeling I had about it is that we're in the time, the season, if you will, of the year at the very beginning, because it's a group energy, it's a collective energy. When we've been talking about the new year for how many months, right? Some of us have been talking about it, the 2020 energy, since October, right? And so we have a very powerful, immense field of change, because we're all talking about it. We're all kind of sharing our experiences around it, right? And even if you're not consciously deciding to go with the change, chances are there's parts of your life that are changing, even though you might be trying to put the brakes on, right? It's because we have a whole lot of energy about change and with change. So thank you, Amy, for sharing that. I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better. April saying Happy New Year to you too. Also, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that, April. When it comes to change and we're in the resistance, right? That's when we start feeling all kinds of blocks, and a lot of times we're just really unhappy, downright depressed, right? Yeah, been through it, and that's one of the things I learned in the last big change that I went through, which was back in 2017, is that I made it harder on myself by resisting. And it's only good that I have close friends and a husband who really loves me, that help me to see that and to remind me of my tools, right? And so we're going to talk about that too. But what I wanted to share with you is that here we have consciously, because a lot of us are walking our earth life here in a conscious way, right? That we're awake and that we realize that we're spiritual beings, right? And so we know that we're experiencing our life here, learning our life lessons so that we have soul growth. Okay, so many of us already have this understanding, right? And so when we see or sense, feel those nudges coming from spirit that's showing us things, whether it's coming through the dreams and synchronicities, that there's some energy that is shifting and moving in our lives, changing, right? That many of us will kind of stop and say, wait a minute, what's going on? We're talking to our spiritual teams. But even when we understand that and we're conscious about it, we're also two-leggeds. We're also human, right? We have this mental mind that can start spinning and become that monkey mind, right? And so we have to be able to help ourselves, or to be able to have our close friends and family to be able to help us say, why did you do that? Or did you remember to use your oils? Are you grounded? Those kinds of things, right? That's when we're awake. But even those that are not maybe completely awake, but they're making those decisions about there's something more to life, right? They're still getting nudges from spirit too. And that's where we come in as light workers, because we're also role models, right? And so we can talk about our experiences with changes. We can talk about and share our experience with how we accepted and embrace change. And so we can actually be role models with that, right? Hang on, I'm going to just get it. There we go. So Julie's saying, speaking of change, we had a solar eclipse on December 26th, and a lunar eclipse on January 10th is coming up. Eclipses are resets. Lunar eclipse is about emotional body and waters of the body. Anyone nauseous, stomach achy stuff, she does, can be a very reflective, got to get her. Hang on, Julie. I just got to find the rest of your comment here. Okay, here we are. Reflective of processing the eclipse energies. Yeah, and come on, Spirit's helping us all the way along, every step, every breath. And so, thank you, Julie, for bringing us that information, because it's really helpful. The thing is that we have the energies that are supporting change, right? The eclipses, right? And so we also have the ability to tap into that energy to help us move through those changes. And I always add, with grace and ease, right? Because it doesn't have to be traumatic or dramatic unless you have signed up for that in your soul contract, right? Yeah. Julie's saying, did you take a nap, drink water, meditate? Friends to help us. Yeah, to ask those questions, because when you're right in the middle of something that is very uncomfortable, and you're crying, or maybe you're having that physical illnesses, right? And sometimes what you need is somebody to ask those questions, because when you're right in the middle of it, sometimes you forget your tools, you forget the knowledge base that you have, right? Because generally speaking, we're just trying to get through the day, right? And so when somebody loves us, close to us, loves us and reminds us, that's that's such a gift. It really is. What did Lynn have to say? She said, I've been finding it very hard to stay grounded lately. Yeah, you're not the only one, Lynn. You're not the only one. And really, it's good that you recognize that, and that you recognize what it feels like not to be grounded, right? Because then you can pause and do another round of grounding, right? And one of the things that we've learned from Polly Joe is to ground in all dimensions that you have access to, right? Hi, Connie. It's good to have you here. Oh, Connie's one of our live stream show hosts too. Spiritual Mysteries of Life. She just had her show last week. Yeah, it's a good one too. Thank you for being here, Connie. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was that when we embrace change. Oh, Lynn, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. I know. It's good to always have you in the house, Lynn. It's good to have you here. When we're embracing change, here's the question I want to ask you. What's Lisa saying? I view them as shifts. And I'm shifting again. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's kind of like, if you can imagine walking on a path, right? Whether it's a footpath, or it's a hiking trail, or something like that, right? And Angelica. Barbara, she says, so need to ground. How to ground? Okay, we can cover that in just a bit. We might have some links to past shows about that too. Hi, Deborah. Deborah's here too. Deborah's part of the executive team. She is helping me with the magazine subscriptions. We're going to talk about that in a second. Barbara's saying, spirit is present in my life. I get involved in wanting those I love to feel the same. Then I get involved in their stuff, which makes me, yeah, it's called boundaries. It's called boundaries. We're not here to change anybody. We're actually have our hands full just keeping track of our own vibration, right? And so, yeah, we can lead by example, but we're not here to change anybody. Mm-mm. I'm sorry, I was just getting ready to reach Angie's. Can you bring Angie's back up? Oh, Deborah says, I wonder if that's what's happening to me, shifting. I'm sure it is, Deborah. There's a whole lot of people shifting. Angie's saying, I don't have a group of friends like that to help. But you have Lori, right? You have Lori. You have your dad, right? Yeah. You do, and you do have a spiritual team, right? And so we can always ask them because they want to help us. They only want the best for us. Our spiritual team, they love us unconditionally. Do they love us? And so you can always ask them to help me to see when I need to use one of my tools or one of my gifts or the application of that to remind me. And they'll do that. They'll give you the synchronicity. They'll show it to you. You'll dream about it, right? But we have to ask. Yeah. They can't live it for us. Amy's saying, while ill, is had to ground myself quite a few times each day. Yes. Yes. And that's good though, Amy, that you were able to do that. And I'm sure that helped you get through the really tough pieces of being that ill, right? So good for you. Good for you to even remember to do it, right? Lynn says, shared with my Care Bears. I know, right? Right. And so I wanted to ask you, oh, you don't have your dad. I thought you did. Wait a minute. I thought you said that he had a magazine. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Angie. I just assumed because we were talking the other day about a magazine, right? Wisdom. I can't remember the name of the title. But here's another question I want to ask you guys. Have you embraced the change that's happening in your life? Have you embraced it? And if you have, what does it feel like? Right? Because a lot of times when we reflect on our past year, and we're embracing the change that we asked for, usually in the new year, that we can actually sense, feel, or see when the difference between when we've embraced the change and when we have tried to push it away, right? Yeah. And so many of us ask for change. We asked for it in our intentions, in our resolutions, right? Depending on what your belief system is around that. What did you ask for during Samhain in October, right? What did you ask for at the winter solstice? And sometimes those changes happen really quickly, and other times they kind of build up to it, right? Because we have more healing to get done before that change that we requested actually comes into the earth plane. Yeah, yeah, I know. So here's something that I wanted to share with you. This past change that I actually instigated. I asked for it. I did. And I actually asked for it way back at the summer solstice. So we went through the summer solstice, the fall equinox, right? Went through the winter solstice. And actually the change was actually starting to happen at the end of October. Yeah. And the thing that and I'm still dealing with it because it's not over yet. And fortunately, that change is a good change. And it actually affects quite a few people. And so I had to pause and actually situate for myself how I wanted to embrace this huge change, right? How do we embrace it? What do I do to embrace it, right? Because usually, even with change, even though you're embracing it, there's parts of it that can be uncomfortable because we're stretching and we're growing. And especially when there is a life lesson involved with it, then you know you're going to have some friction too, right? And so, in the example that I'm going to share with you in just a second is, yeah, what I did was I turned to my spiritual team and I said, okay, show me how I can do this as gracefully as possible, right? And so that I have many, many happy moments with this change. Now, Rob, could you bring up the cover for the magazine, please? Thank you. And if you could turn off the scrolling, that would be helpful too. There's a lot on the screen. Thank you. Um, okay. So some of you know that I've been talking about the magazine and the changes coming up with the magazine for, probably a couple months now. And some of you may not. I have to go back to July. At the end of July, our partners that we've been partners with for 6 years, they're the ones who digitize the magazine for us. I have a great fondness for them because they literally held my hand to create this magazine in a digital way. It was a brand new method for me, and it was very scary. Um, tapping keys and thinking, "Oh God, what is it going to happen now? Did I do it right?" Because it's expensive besides. All right. So at the end of July, what happened to them affected over 500 publishers that work with them. And what they experienced was what's called a ransomware hack, which means that they have 4 huge servers that hold over 500 magazine information, 6 years worth of information, right? So what happened was that we couldn't access our magazine. Couldn't do it. Spent 2 weeks. We were delayed in publishing the August issue by 10 days, something like that. It was not a happy time. It was, and our partners, they were doing everything they possibly could to try to get everything back online, short of paying the ransom. And it was like over $120,000, right? So it was a very difficult time, scary time. I had no control over anything, any part of that whatsoever. And so as I'm in meditation about it and asking for guidance on it, what I received was that we had outgrown them. And then I started recognizing some of the synchronicities, some of the signs, right? When I'm in a mastermind group and I'm no longer being stretched, that I'm actually one of the people that is answering questions now, right? Because we've been creating a magazine for 6 years, and I've experienced almost just about every possible combination of things. And so that led me down a path to change partners for digitizing. And again, scary, scary, because there's a lot of them out there, but which one is the right one, right? So I spent a few months researching and talking to them and Some of them you couldn't talk to. You had to actually just deal with them through text or email messages. And so finally landed on one that really felt good. Right. And so here we're sitting looking at the January 2020 issue. That's going to be the very first issue that's published with our new partners. And I have been pedaling as fast as I can to keep up with the changes, that energy that's flowing, because it's taken on a life of its own. And yeah, it's like I have a corporate meeting with my spiritual team several times a day. It's like we meet in that virtual spiritual conference room, and I'm laying out, okay, I have this issue and this issue and this issue, these problems, these challenges. How do I deal with that? What do I do with this? Okay. And so at the same time, embracing the change. I know all this is going to be fun. I know this is going to work out really well. I think that looking at magazines with issue.com, by the way, that's our new partners, issues.com, ISSUU.com, and looking at their magazines from other publishers, they look so good, right? All right, so here is my team showing me those synchronicities and those signs. Everything from YouTube videos to ads that are popping up on my screen, and I've never seen them before. They're trying to get the information to me, and so you're looking at the January issue cover, and the it's going to be just a slightly bit smaller issue than we generally have, because of the number of pages that we're dealing with. We needed to have it easier because it's a brand new game, brand new, and I don't know all of the rules yet. And so yeah, we're still going to deliver a content wise. Oh my gosh, you guys, wait till you read about Earth is Female, and that's by Minnie Kansman. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. And we also have Welcome to Cosmic Conversation. That's Julie's very first issue, and under her new column, right? And The Restful Cave is by Adrienne Campbell. She is asking us to go within and actually tap into bear medicine. And she has a really good recipe in there for, it's called bear syrup. It's got honey in it. And it's really, I'm going to try making it. I know, right, Julie? Really. And Angel, the 2020 Angel Forecast, that one is by Maureen Mann. And she takes us through every month in 2020 to give us a forecast from the angels. That's the first time she's ever done that. And we also have the article Creating the Holy Trinity Within. And of course, that's by Polly Jo. But she's also has the ancient one with her. Right. And so there's a lot of good stuff in here. Chinese New Year is by Sharon Rosenblum. And so she's sharing with us the different cities that she's lived in where she's experienced Chinese New Year, the parade, the parade with when they have the dragon, right? And also a really good recipe too. But all of that gets to be put through with our very first issue with our new partners. And so embracing the change. I wanted to share this piece with you guys because this is a huge change. Huge. It affects a whole lot of people, just not myself, but a whole lot of people. And I think Deborah Clark Clemens, I think she can attest to, because we spent one whole afternoon working on items for this and sifting through information, and so I'm hoping you guys are going to love it. I am hoping, and so here's the change that's going to affect you. Okay, how the change affects you as a reader is that the way to get the magazine is through issue.com. You may have a subscription through either iTunes or Google Play. Please contact me if you do, because both Deborah and I will take care of you on that. And we're going to make sure that your subscription is taken care of. Okay. But you're going to have to read your magazine now through issue.com. Prices are the same, $2.99 for the single and $24.99 for the annual subscription. And here's one of the things I don't know how it's going to work. The 6-month subscription, I don't know. I think we can only run one, but we're going to try. We're going to try and see if we can also do the 6-month one. So that's how it's going to affect you as a reader. All right. Our print magazine is still going to be run through our partners at MagCloud. That hasn't changed. The changes with that is that I'm hoping by March or April, we're going to be able to offer a subscription for the print magazine. I know we haven't been able to do that yet, but we're going to be offering a subscription for the print magazine as well. I know. How cool is that, right? So changes. And usually when I'm, telling you the backstory of the Star Nations magazine issues, this one's quite different. This one's quite different because the backstory on this one is huge. All right. So one of the other you can bring this one down, please, Rob. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is that if you're going through a huge change, actually any size change, is that we have help. You're not going through it by yourself. You're not. There are your spiritual team. There's people who love you that are willing to support you. Many times what we have to do is ask and accept their help. All right. Because if it's done out of love, really it is. It's done out of love. And so what we need to do is, and maybe that's part of the change, is to be able to accept the help, right? Rather than saying, nope, I'm fine, I'm good. And you end up doing 90% of it by yourself. Maybe that's part of the life lesson in there. The balance of giving and receiving, right? And sometimes it's also about boundaries. I can't remember who had mentioned that. Maybe it was Barbara Angelica, about wanting to help others to change and then getting kind of sucked into their drama, right? That's about boundaries. It's about boundaries. Yeah, and so when we're going through a huge change, you may have some people around you. You may have some people around you who want to steer the ship, right? Rather than offering support, they want to move you over from the driver's seat and say, here, let me do it for you. Yeah, you don't want somebody else driving your car. No. If they have directions someplace, how to get there, or maybe it's listening to their story because they went through something similar, that's different. They're sharing their experience with you, right? But the boundary is not to give up the driver wheel, because that's your change. It's your life, right? Julie's saying, I believe that part of the change, letting go, is also allowing grief for an ending. Even if it's a good change, there's still the release. Absolutely. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And here's that part about the releasing. Now, many of you know that I'm a space clearer, right? I've been doing space clearing for like 45 years, something like that. So, whenever we are doing a clearing of any kind, whether it is in your personal life, like you're cleaning up your diet, um, maybe it is, doing a space clearing in your house. I'm doing one right now, in the storage side of the downstairs, because the basement is a symbol of the past and the subconscious, right? And so we have 13 years of storage stuff going on there. And so Paul and I have been working on it. Now, I could have gotten it all done probably in that long weekend between Christmas and New Year's, but I didn't. I've been working at it a little at a time, an hour here, 20 minutes there, um, because I also know that when we do that kind of clearing too fast, we can throw ourselves into what's called a healing crisis. Even though you are clearing and cleaning your physical house, our homes are a reflection of our life. Okay. And so everything is so interconnected, right? That if you're doing that kind of clearing, is to do it in I hear my mom saying, in a good way, is that you don't want to rush it, because you could throw yourself into a healing crisis. Now, I've experienced that. I'm somebody who knows it, and I did it anyway. That was a few years ago. That was like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, something like that. Well, that was the last time I had pneumonia, because I did a clearing and did it way too fast. And that is something that Julie just mentioned. Okay. No matter what kind of releasing you're doing, there's emotions that are attached to that. I'm not saying they're negative or positive. I'm just saying there's emotions. And to actually feel those emotions, acknowledge them. Okay. Acknowledge them and then let it go. Right. So no matter what change you're going through, you do have to do some releasing. Yeah. Rob is saying that is similar to the existential crisis. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. And we can certainly cause it for ourselves by doing it too fast and not taking the time to process. Right. And Julie's saying this is a big point, accepting the help asked for. Yeah, exactly. And so many times, because we're two-legged, we'll put the prayer out there. We'll talk to our team about it, right? And they bring us the help, but we decide that that's not what I meant. I'm not going to accept that one. And so you return it or you ignore it. And yet that's the help that's coming, right? I know. Hey, Tracy, good to have you here. Oh, so good to see you. Happy New Year, Tracy. Happy New Year. We're talking about change, embracing change. Margaret says, been there. I know, right? Done that. Yeah, I try not to get the t-shirt though. It's like I try to learn the lesson and let go, release the pain that's around it. Barbara is saying emotions. Wow, I have been all over the place. It does feel better to release and grieve. Yes, you know, and and it's not all negative either, right? Grief isn't necessarily a negative thing. Um, it's allowing ourselves to feel whatever emotion it is, right? So I would imagine that there's some of us that are releasing things from 2019, right? That we're kind of happy to see it go, right? And so you can celebrate in that, and that's okay. It's all right. The most important thing is that we're not repressing it or suppressing it, that we're actually feeling it, and to do your best to feel it in a healthy way, that expression of it in a healthy way, right? I know it's easier to talk about it than to actually do it. Lisa says, there is so many do's and don'ts. I know, like healing from my mother, asking her spirit and knowing that there are times you can't intervene. Exactly. All we can do is say for the highest good, for their highest good, and then stand back, right? And love them. You don't necessarily even have to be there physically, right? You can love them, send them love, right? Um, and that's the best thing we can do. That's the best thing we can do. All right, so we have help literally at the tips of our fingers. And here's the thing is that if we were not at a place in our lives to experience this change, it wouldn't be happening. If you are experiencing those things that in order to heal, in order to make it through the change, right? You're healing some sort of emotional or mental trauma. What's coming up to the surface wouldn't come to the surface if you weren't ready for it. Now, mentally, you might be thinking, oh no, not that, right? But at a soul level, your soul knows that you're prepared and you're ready for it. That's why it's coming to the surface. That's why. And this is a part of the embracing of it, the embracing of it. And I know, easier said than done, because I've been there, right? Yeah. Barbara's saying, yes, feeling as much as I can, then loving self enough to not get overwhelmed, right? Right. Do a little at a time. Baby steps if you have to, and that's okay. Lynn says sometimes too much help opinions. Right. Right. And that is where we have to do our discerning. What does it feel like? Does that feel good or does it not? And sometimes it's in our training. It's in our belief systems that we learned from our parents or society or whatever, that, you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to be rude, and let them know that, no, thank you. Right. But you can do that, and you can do it from a good place. You can say, thank you for sharing, but that doesn't feel right. Doesn't fit me. Not yet anyway. You can leave some a door open for possibilities, but just because they think that you should be accepting it doesn't. No, that means you're still in the driver's seat, right? And it is about boundaries. It is. Yeah. Their opinions. Julie says, me, how about a nap now? Soul, suit up. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Rob, could you bring up the either one of the quotes is fine. Either one of them. Yeah, thank you. All right, so I found this one, and I liked it. It says, life happens, adapt, embrace change, and make the most of everything that comes your way. Right? Because what we have to do is to be able to enjoy the gifts that come with it. And I know sometimes those gifts are hard to see. Sometimes you have to go dig through the muck to get to them, right? To actually see them. But they're there. They're there. And to make the most of it, because honestly, it is the journey. It is the journey. It's not necessarily the destination. It's all the people that we get to meet along the way, right? It is experiencing nature along the way. It is in the journey. It is in the journey. And that was, yeah, the 2017, yes, that was certainly the dark night of the soul for me. But it's also any of the changes that I've ever been through. The 5 years that when my parents had disowned me, took me to my knees. Yes. I can kind of laugh about it now, but when I was going through it, heck no. Um, but it was in the journey. I gained so much in that 5 years. I gained so much. New people came into my life. I became a drum maker. That's something I probably would never have done had I still been with my parents, right? So there was a lot of things. I got my medicine dress during that time frame. So really, it is about, even though there's friction there and it feels uncomfortable, is to identify those things that you can embrace, that you can make the most of, right? Even if they're little things. And if we can bring up the next one, Rob, please. Yeah, there we go. It says, this is a Cherokee proverb. Don't let yesterday use up too much of today. Don't let yesterday use too much of today. So that's a lot about being in the present, right? As Julie was talking about, is releasing what needs to be released from the past and not reliving every moment of whatever that is changing, but to let it go so that you have more energy for what's going on right now. Right? Yeah. I like that one too. It's a good one. I might actually put that one up in the office somewhere. Yeah, that's a good reminder to stay in the present. Thank you, Rob. You can take it down. Yeah, I'm just looking at the time. I wanted to definitely make sure that you guys have the new website link to issue.com. So when we publish on the 10th, you're going to be able to get the new issue, the January issue, by going to issue.com. That's issuu.com /Star Nations magazine. Okay. And we're going to have it everywhere, everywhere I can put it. You're going to see it. Because this is a huge change that some people may just, think, oh, this is just the usual, right? And it's not. It's not. We are going to be having our website also up and ready. We're kind of in the midst of that. It kind of reminds me, like, did you ever you talk about doing a clearing? Did you ever decide that you're going to really clean the living room? Really clean it, like you take everything and you push it to the center, or you're going through things and you're making more of a chaos than actually what it looks like at the beginning, right? And so that's what it kind of looks like right now. The magazine page is that we have some things that we're keeping, some things that have gone away, some things that are still in the process of being repackaged, and yeah. So it's kind of a mess right now. I got my fingers crossed that by the 10th, the furniture is going to be replaced and maybe in a different configuration. And we might have some new pillows or new drapes, or it might look a little different, right? Yeah. By the 10th, I'm hoping that the metaphor, that living room is going to look a lot nicer than what it looks like right now. So at some point, we will have everything that you're going to need for the magazine on starnations.org magazine page. Everything from being able to get the subscriptions to be able to get the print magazine ordered and all of that. So kind of bear with us for a little bit too. Okay. That would be really appreciated. All right. So Rob, do we have any other questions or anything like that I want to make sure we get to? Yay. Thank you, Lynn. Julie's saying so many good nuggets in the discussion tonight. Well, thank you, Julie. Thank you. Got to give it to my spiritual team. And it will be exciting, won't it, Deborah? It'll be Deborah and I sitting in the office getting things done. Thank you, Rob, for putting that up. Yay. Looks good, too. My heart goes, when I see that. Yeah, okay. So that's the big change that's coming up. I also want to share with you, just making sure I have enough time here, and take a drink of water. The other thing that's coming up is that we have a couple of classes. That's coming up. I'm going to be in Michigan in May. I'm sorry, June 20th. June 20th, I'm going to be in Michigan teaching a drum making workshop. I know. Thank you for being so patient for those people over in Michigan that have been wanting to make their own drum in a sacred way. Thank you for being so patient. And so I'm going to be there June 20th near Hastings, Michigan. We're going to be at Edge of the Woods Healing Retreat Center, and it's run by Lori DeDecker. Many of you guys know Lori. It's up on the starnations.org Academy page, the information about that. And so we're going to be making elk drums and buffalo drums. So if you are interested in creating your own sacred drum, hopefully you can be able to join us. Okay. Let's see. And the other thing that's coming up, in fact, we just had a meeting about it on Sunday. This is kind of exciting. I'm going to be on the East Coast in May. Yep. May 29th through the 31st. And we're going to be doing something called Star Nations. Wait for it. Got to get my notes. I want to make sure I get the name right. It is called Sure. I thought I had it marked. Hang on. Too many notes. It's here. Here it is. It's Star Nations Deep Dive Manifesting Weekend. Star Nations Deep Dive Manifesting Weekend. And here's the kicker to it, right? Is that we're going to have online classes that's going to be bundled, okay? And there are classes there's going to be taught by Maureen Mann. She's going to be teaching a class about how the angels help us to manifest. And then we're going to have our law of attraction expert, Ed Langdon. He's going to be doing a online class about manifesting. And we have Polly Jo LeBay, who is going to be doing an online class about how our chakras multidimensionally help us to manifest. And then I'm going to be doing a class online about the importance of how we manifest, not so much what we manifest, but how we manifest in the balance between our head and our heart. So it's going to be a bundled. You don't have to pick and choose which class you're going to have. They're going to come bundled, and it's going to help prepare you for the big weekend on the East Coast, because that's going to have some healing workshop to it. There's going to be the inner child play is going to be there as well. And so we're gearing up for our very first East Coast in-person class for Star Nations. And we're going to be holding it at Polly Jo's place, Trinity Healing Sanctuary. I don't think I got that right. We'll have more information, more details, and registration up within the next week or two. But you guys got the first breaking news about it. I'm very excited about it. This is the first time the four of us will be teaching together, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So we're at the top of the hour. Boy, did it go fast. It went really fast. I know. Lisa's saying, I've been getting rid of a lot I don't use. Yeah, goodbye, all exercise equipment. I know, right? Yeah, Paul and I, we've got some things too. I probably will end up doing a garage sale in the spring, I think, um, of a few things, right? And I also have, now, I don't have this all worked out yet, but I also have space clearing tools and stones and crystals and those kinds of things that I've never used. I've never used. A lot of it was meant for classes, right, for students to be able to utilize, but they haven't been in use for a long time. So get ready, guys. You might have the opportunity to get some spiritual equipment tools. Yeah. You never know. Deborah says, is the class on the East Coast open to come out in person? Yes. Yep. The online classes are put together in a way that is going to be a really strong foundation for the deep dive that we're going to be taking out east. Yeah. So yes. Yes. And the thing is that the classes, online classes, are still good, even if you don't want to come join us, and we hope you do on the East Coast. But if you could use it as a standalone if you really wanted to. Sure, why not? Angelica says, "Thanks so much, dear. Thank you for being here, Barbara." Yeah, soul sister. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with me. I do appreciate it. I love hanging out with you guys. And so please join me for next week for Communications from Home. Next week, I have a guest. Her name's Julie Hedges. And we're going to be talking about her new show. And so if you want the backstory and if you want to understand a little bit deeper about the shift and the change and why did she even call it that? Cosmic Conversations, right? Yeah, come join us. 8 p.m. Eastern Time next Tuesday for Communications from Home. And tomorrow, if you're available, Spiritual Roundtable on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the weekly show where we do the card draw for everybody. It's a group card draw, and we have a spiritual conversation. It's always really good. I know, right, Julie? It's going to be exciting. So that's Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday night is Soul Connections with Polly Jo LeBay. That's an evening of healing and divine messages. It's going to be a good one. It's our first, no, I think this is her second show since the new year. Thursday, we have two shows for you. Two shows. The first show is Life Wisdom with Ed Langen, and he's talking about getting your energy revved up for 2020. And so we're going to be talking about law of attraction. We'll be doing some tapping, and he's also going to be doing some channeling. So if you guys have any questions for him, you can always ask him in the live chat, or you can send him a messenger message. Okay. And then in the evening, get this. This is brand new. Brand new. Talk about energy changes. Chakra sessions. Chakra sessions. Notice wasn't on earlier today at noon. No. Polly Jo is moving to Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Chakra sessions. So please join her. She's going to be doing talking about the changes of that we're gearing up for 2020 and the energy that's flowing for that. So come join her for that. All right. See, we got a big week for you guys. All right. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching the recorded show. If that's what you're doing, thank you so much. And we'll see you back here next week. Okay. Ba Mamina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.